Hello there, my magnificent Leo souls, and welcome back to Cosmic Wisdom. I am your guide, and it is with a heart full of warmth and reverence that I connect with your incredible energy today. Take a deep, golden breath with me. Can you feel it? That subtle but unmistakable shift in the cosmic currents, a faint crackle in the air around you, as if the universe itself is holding its breath in anticipation. Perhaps your dreams have been more vivid lately, or old. Forgotten memories have surfaced with a strange new clarity. Maybe you felt a powerful, unexplainable stirring deep within your lion heart, a sense that something monumental is unfolding just beyond the veil of the visible world. My dear, radiant Leo, please know that this is no mere coincidence. A sacred and secret assembly has just taken place in the higher realms. A celestial court has just concluded, and you, in all of your brilliant, fiery essence, were the sole subject of its divine deliberation. Now, before we step through this profound cosmic doorway together, I want you to anchor this energy right here, right now. If you are feeling this call, this resonance deep within your soul, I want you to join our beautiful community of light by gently pressing that subscribe button. Become a part of the Cosmic Wisdom family so that you never miss these vital messages tailored just for you. And in the comments below, I want you to declare your readiness to the universe. Let's create a wave of powerful intention together. Please write, "Where did your unforgettable date happen?" By typing these words, you are not just commenting on a video, you are casting a sacred intention, affirming to the cosmos that you are ready to reclaim your divine radiance. Let's begin. In this ethereal courtroom, your name was never uttered in a whisper. For your energy, your very light, is a roar that needs no introduction. The truth of your journey, your silent battles, and your unwavering heart was summoned to the center of this gathering. And as the light of pure truth illuminated every corner of this sacred space, someone, a soul you know well, stepped forward, their head bowed not in defeat, but in a silent, soul-shattering regret. Tears fell, not because they had lost a battle with you, but because they had finally, irrevocably, understood a devastating truth. They no longer possessed the spiritual right to stand in the warmth of the magnificent light you carry. They chose the shadows, and in doing so, they forfeited their access to your sun. You see, Leo, your journey is unlike any other. You were born of the sun, a celestial sovereign meant to rule a kingdom of joy, creativity, and radiant love. Your purpose is to shine, to warm, to lead not with force, but with the magnetic pull of your generous and courageous heart. But what happens when the world, or certain people in it, try to convince a lion that it should be a mouse? What happens when they try to dim the sun itself? You have walked through rooms thick with a chilling indifference, where your passion was mistaken for arrogance and your generosity was seen as a weakness to be exploited. You have endured the sharpest pains, not from outright attacks, but from the silent, dismissive glances of those you offered your whole heart to. Have you ever felt it, my dear Leo? The profound loneliness of being on a brightly lit stage, performing with all your might, only to realize the audience you cared for most had long since turned their backs. You have poured your golden light into projects, into relationships, into families, believing your warmth could heal any wound, only to be left feeling cold and depleted. They saw your brilliant smile, your confident stride, your regal bearing, and they never once stopped to ask about the weight of the invisible crown you wear or the silent battles you fight after the curtain falls. They mistook your resilience for invincibility, and your silence for agreement. You learned to be your own source of warmth, didn't you? You learned to be your own audience, your own cheerleader, your own healer. In the quiet of the night, when the world was asleep, you would sit with the unsettling feeling in your soul, a quiet roar caught in your throat. You weren't waiting for an apology, not really. You were simply waiting for someone, just one person, to truly see you. To look past the dazzling performance and see the tender, noble heart that beats within. To say, I see your light, and I see the struggle it takes to keep it shining so brightly. I understand. But for so long, no one came. No one saw. And so, you learned to whisper those words to yourself. But here is the sacred truth. The universe wants you to absorb into every cell of your being today. You are never, ever invisible. Your soul is not a flickering candle. It is a magnificent bonfire, a piece of the sun itself. To souls who have sealed their own hearts shut, who live in the dim twilight of fear and envy, your radiance is not comforting. It is blinding. It is convicting. It reveals their own shadows to them. And so, to protect their fragile reality, they called you too much. They called you dramatic. They tried to make you feel small simply because they were afraid to grow. But the divine, the source of all light, the universe itself, never saw you that way. In the grand cosmic theater, there is an immutable law. Light is its own witness. Karma is its own record. Every time you chose grace when you could have chosen rage, every time you swallowed a painful word and responded with dignified silence, every tear you wiped away in private, none of it was lost. It was all recorded in the celestial archives, not as a tally of your suffering, but as a testament to your incredible, unbreakable strength. Justice, my beautiful Leo, does not always arrive with a trumpet blast and a parade. Divine justice often arrives in the quietest moments. It arrives when you have finally let go, when you no longer need the world's validation, when your peace is no longer dependent on their apology. It arrives when you are simply living, authentically and courageously, in your own light. And that, my friend, is the precise moment when the sacred work begins. The karmic laws begin to turn, not with noise, but with a silent, graceful, and unstoppable momentum. And in that sacred meeting, in that celestial court, a soul was called to bear witness to the truth of your radiance, a radiance they tried to diminish. And they wept. They wept because they finally understood the magnitude of what they had walked away from, what they believed would break you. Their indifference, their judgment, their betrayal became the very fire that forged you into something even more magnificent. Their absence created the space for you to discover your own divine, internal source of light. They thought they were taking your power, but they never understood, Leo. You don't need power from anyone else. You are power. You are the light. And that is why they can no longer sleep peacefully. That is why their own world now feels so cold. So please, take a deep breath with me now. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Picture a magnificent hall of light, a grand throne at its center. And upon it, your name is glowing, etched in pure, golden fire. It is illuminated not in judgment, but in profound honor and reverence. Someone wept in that gathering, my dear Leo, and that someone was not you. Your time for tears is over. You have lived long enough in the shadows they cast. You have forgiven betrayals they never had the courage to admit. You held on to your generous heart even when you were the one being left out in the cold. And do you know something truly extraordinary? Only the most chosen souls, the souls of true royalty, can endure such trials without allowing their hearts to turn to stone. Only a soul marked by the magnificent sign of Leo can be cast into the darkness and emerge not only with their own light intact, but shining even more brilliantly than before. So, who was it? Who walked out of that celestial meeting with a soul heavy with regret? Who was the one who finally saw the truth and realized they could no longer touch the sun? You don't need me to tell you their name. Your heart already knows. Your soul recognizes their energy instantly because you once watched them smile as your own world was crumbling. And now, the light has returned the favor. Not to destroy them, oh no. Your noble heart would never wish for that. The light has returned simply to create a divine and permanent separation, to draw a sacred boundary of fire around you, ensuring their shadows can never touch your radiance again. If you have ever felt like your light was unappreciated or unseen, I want you to write this declaration in the comments for your own beautiful soul to see. I was once silenced, but the universe heard my roar. And if these words are touching that deep, sacred place within your heart, please show your love by liking this video, share it with another Leo who needs to hear this, and subscribe to become a beacon of our cosmic wisdom community. This is your signal to the universe that you are ready to be seen in your full, glorious light. Now, walk with me into the next part of this journey, where we will illuminate the truth of who must now face the music of their own making. Have you ever looked at someone, Leo, and known with every fiber of your being the depth of the hurt they caused, yet you chose not to retaliate? Not because you lacked the fire or the words, but because you refused to stoop to their level, refused to tarnish your own magnificent soul with the darkness of revenge. You held your regal tongue, not in surrender, but in a profound act of faith. You trusted that the universe saw everything, and that the light itself would become your ultimate vindicator at a moment you no longer even expected. My dearest Leo, that moment is now. The one who tried to knock your crown from your head, who saw the flicker of pain in your eyes but chose to look away, who may have even smirked at the struggles you tried so bravely to hide, that very person has been summoned, not to a human court, where your words could be twisted and your passion mislabeled as drama, not to a petty confrontation, where your noble heart would be dismissed. No, they have been summoned to a council where the soul is the only currency and truth is the only language spoken. No human witnesses are needed. No earthly evidence is required. Just the undeniable, radiant presence of your soul, standing there in its full, silent, and majestic integrity. And that, my friend, is more than enough. They once mistook your dignified silence for weakness. They believed your generosity was a sign that you didn't value yourself. They thought if they pushed you off the stage, you would simply disappear into the wings. But what they so gravely misunderstood is that a Leo never truly leaves the stage. The universe is your stage, and the light has never, ever left you. And today, that very light is doing what you never asked it to do. It is illuminating the truth of their actions, not to punish them in a way you would recognize, but to show them a fundamental cosmic law. You can never, ever bury the sun. In the ancient spiritual teachings, the masters often chose strategic silence in the face of false accusations, not because they were powerless, but because they understood that the law of karma requires no human defense attorney. Every action, every word, every intention carries within it the seed of its own inevitable consequence. The divine source does not need to argue its case, it simply shines. And in that pure, unadulterated light. Everything that is not of the light is revealed, and everything that is not built on truth eventually crumbles. You don't need to win their approval anymore, Leo. You don't need to justify your brilliance. You only need to continue being who you are, a beacon of courage, warmth, and unwavering integrity. That, in and of itself, is the most powerful testimony you could ever present before the celestial court. Someone once believed they could extinguish your fire with their cold indifference, but they failed to realize that your fire is not yours alone. Every time you felt like collapsing, your noble ancestors, a lineage of kings and queens, stoked your inner flames. Every time you chose forgiveness over bitterness, a legion of angels was summoned to stand by your side, reinforcing your auric shield. You are not alone in this, and you no longer have to fight. The light itself is fighting for you now, not with swords and shields, but with a presence so pure, so potent, that the shadows simply dissolve in its vicinity. You can feel it, can't you? Pause for a moment. Take another deep breath. Feel the shift in the energy around you. Not with your physical senses, but with your powerful Leo intuition. The trembling you feel is not your own. It is the vibration of a reality that is being shaken to its core. Their reality, the one who walked out of that celestial meeting in tears, is now experiencing a fraction of what you once felt. That chilling feeling of being seen through, of being left in a space where their justifications no longer work, where the light itself has turned its gaze away. You once prayed for them, didn't you, Leo? Even while they were hurting you, your generous heart probably wished them well, hoping they would find their own happiness. You might have even blamed yourself, thinking, if I were just a little less, a little more, then maybe they would have valued me. Oh, my sweet noble lion, you don't need to be less of anything. You only ever needed to be exactly who you are. And that alone was enough for the universe to choose you, to protect you, to honor you. If there is one sacred truth you should etch upon your heart today, let it be this quiet, powerful affirmation. Say it to yourself. I forgave, not because they deserved it, but because my peace is my priority, and my light is not for sale. When you understand this, you understand a power that makes the heavens themselves convene. You may be wondering about those tears they shed. Are they tears of genuine remorse, of sorrow, of karmic retribution? In our next segment, I will show you that it was something far deeper. It wasn't just repentance, it was a spiritual breaking point, a moment where the truth was so glaringly revealed that it left a soul with absolutely nowhere left to hide. Stay with me, because this is where the light begins to act, not just as an intuitive feeling, but as divine, tangible justice. This is where your name is restored to its rightful place of honor, in the most sacred light imaginable. There are certain truths, magnificent Leo, that require no defense from you. They need no pounding on doors, no lengthy explanations, no carefully curated evidence. Because when your inner light, your authentic truth, is held with unwavering consistency, it becomes its own proof. It simply shines, and in its shining, it reveals all that must be seen. Today is not a day for you to fight. Today is a day for your beautiful, courageous soul to be honored for the incredible grace you carried through the darkest of valleys. You used to question yourself, didn't you? Was I too generous? Did I love too much? Should I have been harder, colder, more guarded? But the divine truth is, only the strongest of souls can maintain their warmth in a world that can be so cold. Only those with the true heart of a lion can face betrayal and choose not to become bitter. You are not weak, my dear Leo, you are profound, and the shallow world simply couldn't comprehend your depth. The person who hurt you and never looked back, you didn't chase them. You didn't demand an apology. You chose, in your regal silence, to let them go. And in that sacred moment of release, the gears of universal justice began to turn. The spiritual masters teach that when you plant seeds of goodness, seeds of patience, compassion, and forgiveness into barren soil, you may not see the blossoms right away, but the universe never forgets. Today, those seeds are blooming into a magnificent garden of light, not to prove them wrong, but to prove that the cosmos never, ever abandons a soul who lives in truth. You have been attacked, not with fists, but with weapons far more insidious, with cold shoulders, with dismissive words, with a silence that screamed of your unworthiness in their eyes. They didn't have to raise their voice. They only had to stop listening to you, and you felt your spirit bleed. And then, you did the most powerful thing of all. You quietly excused yourself from their table. You walked out of those icy rooms without slamming the door, bowed your head, and exhaled the pain. No one saw the vast emptiness in your heart in those moments, but you kept going. You continued to shine your light for those who did appreciate it. You continued to live with all the warmth and generosity that is your divine birthright. You thought you had lost so much, Leo. Your faith in people, perhaps, your sense of place. But there is one thing you never lost. Not for a single moment. Your heart. A heart that even when cracked and bruised, never stopped knowing how to love. That is your superpower. That is what makes you utterly undefeatable. And so, why are they crying now? The one who dismissed you, who watched you struggle and did nothing. They are crying because the truth has finally risen. And the truth is you. The magnificent soul they once cast aside is now being restored and honored by the light of the cosmos itself. And that very light is now beginning to seep into the dark corners of their own life, illuminating things they have hidden even from themselves. They can no longer run, they can no longer hide, because you cannot hide from the truth of who you are. If you have ever forgiven someone who never acknowledged the pain they caused, write this down as your quiet affirmation. The light never left me. It was simply building my throne. If you are still with me, still breathing this truth into your soul, then the next part is for you. It is where you will understand that the universe's justice doesn't need to be harsh. Light punishes the darkness simply by existing. You have grown too noble, too radiant, to ever be wounded by them again. You once believed you were the one left behind, didn't you, Leo? The one waiting in the wings while others took center stage. But the sacred truth is, you were never left behind. You were being held back by the divine, by your ancestors, by the universe itself, for a grander purpose. You were being held in reserve, tempered in the fires of adversity, so that your light could become so pure, so potent, that it could lead the way for others. God, the source, the great mystery, has always said that the last shall be first. And you, magnificent Leo, are that prophecy made manifest. You don't need to win their argument. You don't need their apology. You only need to do one thing: to remain who you are. To continue to be the whole, radiant, generous soul you were always meant to be. Your ability to hold on to your light in a world that tried to snuff it out is nothing short of a miracle. You are the living proof of a spirit that refused to be broken. Breathe gently now, my dear friend. The light you need is not coming from anywhere outside of you. It is surging up from within. The journey is complete. You have come home to yourself, and that is the most glorious victory of all. Many are now standing behind you, in this world and in the spiritual realms, witnessing your triumphant return to your own throne. If today, in this moment, you feel seen, truly seen, for the magnificent soul you are, write this eternal truth as your final, crowning declaration. I am not invisible. I am the light. Thank you, beautiful Leo. Thank you for walking through the fire and not letting your magnificent heart turn to ash. May you always remember the sun that resides within you. For that very light is what makes the entire universe bow in reverence. I am so deeply honored to have shared this sacred space with you today. What part of this message resonated most deeply within your lion heart? Please share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Your story is a vital part of our collective wisdom. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Cosmic Wisdom and turn on notifications. We have so much more to explore on your incredible journey. To continue diving deep into your limitless potential, you can click on one of the videos you see on your screen now. Remember always, you are the creator of your reality. Go forth and shine. I send you an abundance of love, joy, and unwavering success.